Eleanor the Great, 2025. This is a comedy drama film. It's directed by Scarlett Johansson and it stars June Squibb. She plays the 94-year-old eponymous character who has been living in Florida with her best friend Bessie. But after Bessie dies, she moves back to New York, where she used to live. She moves to Manhattan, although she once lived in the Bronx. And she hails from the Midwest. I think that's also mentioned. Um, there's the start of the film. There's a lot of the setup is involving Bessie and Eleanor, how they get on great as friends, and they they have some battles. I mean, some people are just like in this supermarket, they want something that's a kosher product, a sauce or something, and um, the staffer, the assistant, doesn't seem keen on, getting up and going and finding out if they've got a new supply. And Eleanor does the work of practically ordering him to do so. She's good at assertiveness, and considering the dismissive nature of this chap, it's quite warranted, I guess. And there's other stuff, but I mean, one particular thing is like um, when she starts to move, her neighbour comes to the door, and you can tell there's some um, ill feeling between them, ill will. I mean, she seems to be in constant battles with certain people, and perhaps that's quite understandable because you don't get to find out what these people have done, except she often turns the table back, like she suggests that she's um, familiar with the husband of her neighbour, sort of pointed jibe at her, that sort of thing. That's a parting shot towards her. So um, we've also um, there's a scene where um, I think it's actually in that supermarket where where Bessie gets ill, and in the hospital scene, um, Eleanor says, "Oh well, you're not going anywhere. You'll be fine." But sadly, the next scene is her by herself on a bench by the beach. So it's clear that Betty has died, and so we get to meet um, Eleanor's daughter, who is worried about her living on her own, and she would rather that she gets moved into a more senior care situation, social care, home possibility, some semi-independent assisted living. I'm not sure it's called there. Probably did get mentioned, but I didn't pick it up. But that's the impression I get. And there's a lot of films that where there's concerned offspring worried about their parents living alone. Um, but she's not pushing her too much. But um, Lisa, that's her daughter, signs her up to the JCC, and it's a Jewish community class because she's Jewish, and she goes along. It's almost like Alcohol Anonymous set up, not quite, but similar to that. But the people there, they're talking about the trauma of the Holocaust, and they invite Eleanor to share. And it's almost like they assume, it feels like this is where the understanding starts. They assume that she's had traumatic experiences. And she feels, I guess, in an invidious position. So she taps into her memories of what Bessie has told her. And Bessie, so we get all these conversations where Bessie talks about her experience, like with her brother, and it's like really tragic stuff, and it was really poignantly told. And Bessie starts to explain this, and the group are really attentive. They're captivated by what she says. Um, and of course, she's gone into this in a light misunderstanding, and now the this becomes a bit more of a lie. And there's a 19-year-old college student there who warms towards Eleanor and says, "I'd love to talk to you more about things." And Eleanor and Nina, the 19-year-old, become friends. And Nina's very in awe of Eleanor. And the trouble is, she wants to write an article, she wants to do a project, and uh, Eleanor can talk a lot. I mean, she's wanting to um, have these sort of contacts with people, but she's almost like not expecting to make friends. Her daughter says, "Oh, you might make friends," and then all this starts, and it's almost exactly what she wants, but there's this big element of deception, and of course the tension builds because um, there's more layers of it. I mean, people, the the JCC class, they're they're uh, entranced by her. They really find what she says really interesting, and it seems like Nina can make a bigger project of it, like her tutor is really interested, or professor or something, and she's the daughter of a famous television presenter of a particular program each week to do with New York, and so things go totally out of hand. And wow, you know that it's just going to really get so badly. It's going to end up in a really bad fall. I mean, deception is a large part of films. It happens so often in the narrative. You know that these things always get found out, but at what point? How much is going to happen? And how embarrassing is it going to be? And um, yeah, it's just uncomfortable. The situation is going to break. How is it going to break? Um, how damaging is it going to be to that bond of friendship she's just created? And the other thing about Nina is she's lost her mother. Her mother died about 6 months, 6, 7, 8 months earlier. And her father is coping with grief in a very different way. So she's not getting a chance to talk about her mum. And she often feels like tears because it's really early on in the process. Grief takes ages. And for a 19-year-old girl, young woman, just, um, I mean, it's really well acted. I mean, there's just a lot of feeling by so many of the actors. There's uh, so Erin Kellerman plays Nina Davis. There's Jessica Hesht who plays Lisa, and Chiwetel Ejiofor plays Roger Davis. Um, the widower and a news anchor, who's, you know, uh, very thoughtful, very encouraging of his daughter with her project, and yet um, there's some big lessons ahead. Rita Zohar plays Bessie, the actual Holocaust survivor. So this story is really powerful, really um, well done. I loved it. I just thought, wow, really. Um, I think I would score it 9 out of 10 because, um, I mean, whilst I could see what was likely to happen, because you know that these things, do get uncovered. You can't make such a big lie and just get away with it. It's just, I mean, if only people would just clarify things early on, but it's so difficult. Can imagine the embarrassment for Eleanor. Those early conversations, you think, oh, this is going to get bad. You know it. And it's just like, but it's a lesson to all of us. It might not be, for most of us, it's not going to be something as serious as getting other people to believe that you've been in such a traumatic situation. But the more authentic and honest we are about our own situations, our own life experiences, when it's necessary, because of course there's also privacy and some things we just don't want to talk about with everyone. So there's that element as well. But when people do what Eleanor does and then in effect start living a lie, and it gets so out of hand because people are so interested in this story. I mean, in a way, it's such a shame that Bessie doesn't talk about it. But in a way, I mean, it wouldn't be a film, but um, you get to see Bessie describing the experiences with feeling, really very emotionally. And of course, then June takes it, not June, Eleanor takes it on. Um, and puts her own, describes it, I guess. I mean, because we see it narrated narrated by um, Bessie. It cuts away to show Bessie talking. You don't see so much of how Eleanor conveys it. Um, Still, um, I thought it was a great film, and really a very interesting subject. And one of those life lessons that needs impressing upon all of us, really. I mean, just if people make assumptions, try and clear them up early on if possible. And it's difficult. Some situations, I mean, people can ask all sorts of things and make assumptions. And some things are very difficult to explain once you're in that sort of um, predicament, I guess. All right. Um, that's my thoughts. 9 out of 10. I'd love to know what you think. Please leave your thoughts in the comments. Thanks for watching. Please like if you like this film review. Thanks if you subscribe. Please hit the notification button. I hope to see you again soon, and bye for now. Bye. Bye.